on, everyone? Derek here today, bringing you another video. As you can see, I am here with Alex with Grant.Performance over on Instagram, and we have Lucifer here, and this video has been long awaited, and it's definitely my fault. There's some explanation to it, but let's go ahead and jump right on into it. So over here on the table, guys, we have Lucifer's new twin disc clutch that we are gonna be installing within the next day or two. And this clutch is actually from Vengeance, which is a sister brand off of Competition Clutch. Competition Clutch is super reputable in the tuner world. They have a lot of record-holding cars running this clutch, and they actually just started, well, it was about a year ago, they just dipped into the domestic world. Mustangs, you know, Challengers, Camaros, the whole nine of the American Muscle line. And today, finally, we are going to be installing this clutch because we are going to be heading to Texas 2K. March 13th, I think, is when we depart, and we are going to be trailering this car.
Nope.
Hopefully trailering it, because you know, the 6.0 decided it wanted to die when I went to go take my buddy to the airport the other day.
Oil pump.
High pressure oil pump.
High pressure oil pump. Give you guys a little rundown as to what we'll be installing and as to why, because there's some parts here on the table that, you know, in the Mustang world are a necessity. And we're just gonna go ahead and explain it. We obviously have the Competition Clutch itself from Vengeance, and you can actually check out their Instagram at Vengeance Clutches. It's right there on the screen, but this thing is very nice looking. And as you can see, it's already bolted up and stuff. But this right here is going to solve a lot of the issues that we were running into, and a lot of the issues that just people in general run into when you have the S197s. I want to say it's not as bad when it comes to the S550s with the lockout issue, high RPM lockout issue that is. This car cannot see 7,500 RPMs and go into gear without the pedal sticking to the floor and the clutch just not letting it shift. So that's why you upgrade to a twin disc clutch, and I know that it's like a no-brainer, especially when you're boosted, put a clutch in the car, but you guys have to understand, I was boosted at like 18,000 miles, so that stock clutch was really fresh, and honestly, I just wanted to get as much life out of it as possible before throwing this in, and that is exactly why a year later, finally deciding to go and throw it in. But there's that, and moving on to the right here, you can see we have this green little springy looking thing, but this is actually a Ford OEM throwout bearing. So this car has this same throwout bearing inside of it, and you might be asking yourself, why do you want to put an OEM one in when you're not running an OEM clutch? Well, word on the street is these things just work so much better than an aftermarket throwout bearing. As far as the noises, as far as the engagement, I don't know. I'm just gonna follow the crowd that all uses them. Some high horsepower cars with aftermarket clutches run this, and they're actually hard to get, believe it or not. They're nearly out of stock everywhere, but luckily got our hand on one of these, and with the throwout bearing being replaced, we are gonna go ahead and run a new pilot bearing. Just because we're gonna be in there, might as well tear all that out, put all new stuff in, and we just have like a little pamphlet here. What'd you say this was? A clutch
alignment tool.
Clutch alignment tool. And we got our bolts, test and Loctite, instructions from Competition Clutch. And yeah, so I'm very excited, but before we go any farther,
We don't need this.
that's one way to do it. Listen, I know you need the instructions.
I don't need it.
I think you really do need the instructions.
I bet you. How much you would have bet that I could do a full clutch off without looking at the instructions once?
That scares me.
It should.
This thing's gonna be doing a wheelie. How we looking, Chief?
I want to live.
Yeah. I'd say so. Hey, at least I got you a light though. Look. Bang!
That is pretty dope.
That's a $20 light right there. That thing's bad, dude.
Spending the big bucks over there.
Guys, right now the camera is completely level. That's gonna be the thumbnail. It's just gonna be the car just on its side. I'm just so excited to finally get this thing put in, get it broken in, not have that whole lockout issue anymore, and just be able to fully enjoy the car. And it looks like E85 is next up on the list, so.
Hell yeah.
I'm gonna need some new tires soon, man. It still doesn't look like you have much room, but you do.
The only real part that gets hung up is the O2 sensor here, and then just the flanges.
So what do you have to take those O2s out?
I'm gonna take them out for yours.
Just to be safe?
Just to be safe. Like for Teddy's stuff, I was able to wiggle his around a little bit more. For you, I'm just gonna be able to drop this down, slide it back. The best way to break the seal first, because these are hard as crap and it's an Allen, so you don't want to strip out inside. Take a hammer, you know, ratchet or anything and smack the bottom of it, because what will happen is it'll give it that initial break and then it should just come off real easy. Should.
There it goes. Nice.
If not, you can run into a problem where it's will want to strip out before it breaks loose.
No trans fluid in it.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Imagine. All right, well, cool, man. I'll see you later.
All right, bye.
That crusty old Barton.
Alright guys, so I don't know how much experience y'all have, but for the S197 MT82 transmission, get them out, clutch install, it's actually very easy. So basically, these little bolts right here, 3 on this side, 1 at the very, very top, and then 2 or 3 on this side, and then of course you have the starter that actually bolts through the bell housing so it can contact the flywheel. I'm gonna go ahead and get all the O2 sensors out, and then I'm gonna come back here and go ahead and take these loose so I have leverage to move the motor up and down. And we're gonna take the drive shaft out, and then I'll get right back with y'all. I got the drive shaft out, as y'all can see. 4 12mm bolts that hold the front drive shaft in. You can actually just use a long 12mm boxed in wrench and break them off with. So now that we got the starter out and we got this cross brace out, we're gonna start taking the 13mm bell housing bolts out. And then once we get to probably 1 or 2 on each side, we'll put the jack underneath and take this cross member out so we can lower the transmission down. And that way we can get the very top bell housing bolts.
Looks like that trans is a little wobbly there.
Yeah, just with cars sitting a lot, they get stuck on the dowel pin sometimes. That's what we got going on right now.
There she go. So that's that big old crusty MT82, huh?
Yep, the turd.
Looks like a pile of junk. Let's see that stock clutch. Take a peek.
Right.
Oh, there she is. Damn, that thing's ugly. Well, there's the MT82, guys. This is probably one of Ford's biggest mistakes, in my opinion. Transmission-wise.
They're not that bad.
They're pretty bad, dude.
They're not that
Stock,
bad.
they're pretty bad. So that's the stock clutch, huh? How's she looking?
Oh, it's not too bad. You really judge a clutch on the pad thickness of this. And like where those rivets are, if you see it like flush with the rivets, it's normally a good time to replace it. And then
I mean, the clutch honestly is still bit well, like driving. It just
yeah,
gets,
this won't that bad. It still looks new. Out with the old, in with the new. So we're gonna take the clutch all apart so you get to a flywheel and get the flywheel all bolted up, torqued down, and then we'll be putting the clutch and everything else in. Just like Teddy's, all these cotton clutches tell you what side the
oh, that's pretty nice.
clutch.
Nice little engravement right there, competition clutch. So here we have the transmission mount. This is gonna be the 400 horsepower additive. This will actually give me more boost. At least that's what Alex told me with Grant.Performance on Instagram. Yeah. This is my first time though, I've actually seen a twin disc opened up.
So this is the twin disc and this is the stock clutch.
And that's just one of the discs. Just the part that makes me go faster?
Yep, so this is the actual part that bolts to the
wastegate.
yeah, the wastegate. So this bolts like that. Then we just start stacking discs, stacking spacers, stack the pressure plate back on, torque it all down, and then, you know, just throw the trunk in the back. I mean, throw the trunk in the back Wow,
Yeah,
bro.
when your
The
mechanic
trans
shows
in the
up.
back. A lot of clutch installs, you need to replace your pilot bearing. Lucifer's didn't really look that bad. I mean, the car only has, what, 18,000 miles on it?
28, but.
Like when I did Lucifer's, his is completely gone. All the needle bearings that are in here were either missing or just broken. So we got a new OEM Ford one that we're gonna install right now.
And it's important to do those because let's say he gets done with this whole clutch job in a month down the line, that goes. You have to rip everything back out just to get to it. So it's definitely one of those things, even if you're on a 5,000 mile car, just replace it. It's just do it.
Think I'm gonna buy lights that don't shine, dog? Really, they're kind of like straightforward. Remove them, it's a whole different story. This is a reluctor that the ECM uses to figure out crank position and when to fire and all that. So try not to move this if you can help it. What happens a lot of times is people will take those, move them all around, and then you're gonna have to relearn your crank position, and that will cause random misfires and stuff like that. If you don't take this off normally, under normal conditions, I haven't had an issue where I've had to relearn crank position, but to each their own.
Simple brake cleaner. You just want to make sure, you know, oils and all sorts of stuff.
All this metal stuff is shipped with packing oil, so it doesn't like flash rust. So you want to get the parts that actually make contact with this pad. You actually want to get the oil off of that, because if not, it can wear in funny, have little hot spots on here, and the clutch will have like a rough engagement feel.
Bolting up the flywheel. Let's take a look at that bad boy real quick.
All right.
Nice looking flywheel if you ask me.
Had to throw it in there. Kind of funny.
So he's putting in one bolt just to hold the flywheel because we are going to be applying red thread lock to the ARP hardware we have, which is very nice about Competition Clutch. They send out some decent hardware. Flywheel bolts are getting red, and then the pressure plate is going to get blue Loctite. The more you know.
The more you know, the more trouble you can get in. Put a ratchet on the crank bolt up front, and then I just torque this, and we'll be good to go to the next step.
We just got done torquing down every bolt. We went in the star pattern, as you know, you definitely want to, and then we went ahead and did a circular pattern afterwards just to double check. Each bolt was applied with a little drop of a red Loctite. Want to make sure that flywheel is nice and secured. Now we're gonna go head over to Alex.
That's all packing oil right there.
Yep, that's exactly why.
That's why we don't want it on the clutch pack.
No.
With anything. I'm gonna show y'all what I'm gonna do under there because there's not a lot of room. Sorry, no lift props. So basically, actually, I want to look at this picture. So basically, we already put the flywheel in. We torqued all that. These clutch discs are actually these and this. So you have ones that are engine side towards the transmission, which that's this one, transmission side, front of engine. So you're gonna put this one, this, onto the flywheel, spacer in between, the second disc, boom, like this, and then you're gonna have the pressure plate right here. What the pressure plate does is when fluid is pushed through here through the clutch pedal, what it does actually is, this is naturally like this because there's pressure on it. It pushes this up, which pushes this little, the pressure forks inward, and what it does is puts a bunch of pressure on this so it can slow the transmission down so you can able to change gears and everything like that. We're going to assemble everything under the car, and then we'll torque it all down, and we'll show you all the next step.
So it is tight underneath here, but we're gonna try to film this as best as possible. First disc is on.
And they give you a clutch alignment tool. So when you basically put the clutch, it's kind of hard to see, I'm sorry guys. And then you put this on. Again, try not to touch too much of the disc. And then what we're gonna do is get the next disc, make sure it's facing the right way. And take this, spin it in here, get both discs in, make sure it's all the way in.
Pressure plate's going in.
Yep, and these pressure plates have dowel pins they sit on. Hi, my name's Alex.
And I'm a method.
What is it, intervention? My name is Alex and I work on cars too much.
Bye. Hope you find your dad.
Gotta get the back in.
This is shit. I'm just trying to hold the weight for you. Let you do it.
Oh, hold on, you're on my finger, you're on my finger, you're on my finger. Ow, okay.
I can see clearly now. This trans is gone.
Hey, you wanna try to get that?
So trans is back, mounted up there. And again, guys, I apologize. It's super tight on here. I think the other day was the last time I drove this car for the last time ever.